Welcome in, guys, to the Road to Black podcast. Wes,
Yeah. What's
welcome
up,
in.
man?
How are you?
Yeah, no complaints. Little fatigued, a little tired, but all
Busy
in all,
weekend?
yeah, man, it's super busy. Busy, man. Been getting crushed. Really, the past 2 or 3 weeks. So it's a good thing, but
With work and stuff?
yeah, with work and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a good problem to have, but it's taxing.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you can't get many breaks. It's like we were talking before the show. Yeah, I mean, it comes back at you when you can't do. I was telling someone at work today, one of my employees, I was just like, man, I'm on one of those roles where I need to like just take a full day off to really just unwind and not do anything. But even on my days off of work, I'm doing a lot of work around the house and just physical labor, and you don't realize, but it's a lot of work. Like I on Saturday, we're renovating our home. We've been in here for many years, and it's a bigger home, so it's a huge project that we're tackling. Yeah, I've shown you some videos and stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of like rebuilding the home, and we're living here at the same time. And one of the final things that we're doing is we purchased an iron door for the front door. So this is like, yeah. So we have double doors. The front door is a double door, really nice. They open up both doors. It's amazing to get furniture in and out, and stuff like that. But they were wood before. I've painted those doors twice. I refurbished them. But now the doors are also west facing on our home. So in Arizona, the west part of your home, if you got our front of our home faces west, and we get beat down in the afternoons. So that door is literally, there was parts, it was wood door, and there was a couple parts where the decorative thing on the front door was thin in some areas. It's just the way this door was. It was literally, the sun had like rotted the wood to where it was like starting to crack, where I could see light coming into my home from the door. That's just what the sun has beaten down on this doors for whatever. The home is 17 years old. So anyway, it's time for new doors. So I found this place out of California, that have these really cool iron doors, and really, according to the video online, easy to install. So, I literally probably saved 50% just I got a couple quotes here in the Valley. These doors they're not cheap, but they were double the price here in the Valley to get them delivered and installed. So I found this place in Cali. I'm like, I'm going to do the install myself. I'll get my dad over here. My dad's really handy. He's taught me a ton. He's literally rebuilt his own homes many times and stuff. So no big deal. He's also 71 years old. So 70 years old. So, but he's in good shape. I'm like, okay, we can do it. I'll get my son over here if we need some extra hands. So we get this door in, and it literally took, I think we started at like 8 o'clock, and it took us till 2:30 to get this door in. Okay. So we wrecked the old door out, sawzall, cut the frame out, just pulling nails, like getting it all cleaned up. Then we put it's nice because this place sent the door in one single piece frame, and then the two doors would like hinge onto it. You got to imagine this is iron.
yeah,
They're like steel doors, so
yeah.
they're
It's
super heavy.
yeah,
Like I was moving them with a two-wheel dolly, we had to like put some muscle into it. We got them in, they look amazing. Took forever, we had to, level it all up, shim it up. I mean, the whole deal. Big old giant lag bolts to get into the frame. Looks
yeah,
amazing. It changed. I mean, it's amazing what a front door, how it can change the whole appearance of your home, both in and out. It has windows, so it lets some light in. We're really stoked with it. But my point of the story is I was so wrecked on Saturday because I didn't realize, this is after a full work week of
yeah.
training and work. Then Saturday is my first day off, and we tackled this project at 8 o'clock. 2:30, I was just like, when we got done, I realized it like at 3 or 4. I'm like, oh my God. And I had been on my feet that entire time. That's what you don't realize, it's
Yeah.
like not one break, literally. It was just up and down, no sitting around. Anyway, so I'm a little busted up from that. So I do a lot of recovery, I hot tub and cold cryo all the time. I live and die by that stuff. So I was feeling pretty good going into today or yesterday. I woke up Sunday, Easter. I'm like, man, I'm feeling a lot better. I did the hot tub last night. I even actually got in my pool. My pool's not as cold anymore by any means, but at night it still gives you a little chill. So trying to recover. I have Normatec boots at home. I put those on everything I could. And
Nice.
Sunday I'm feeling fine. I'm like, I got to do some more work around here before Easter. So these cabinets I'm taking off the wall. They're like literally double wide, like a kitchen cabinet would be. No big deal. I'll take all the bolts out and then I'll be able to prop this up and get it down somehow, and no big deal. These things were heavier than I thought. I pulled that last screw and this thing fell off the wall and I like caught it and it was like I literally got it down, but right when I set it on the ground, I was like, I pulled, like I strained my back muscle, like right on the inside of just in the middle of my back, it really dragged me down today, I hate that when you have, it feels like a stiff neck, but on the back, inside of my, kind of like under my lap,
Yeah.
Man, I'm just beating myself up with home improvement this weekend, but that's what you do though. It's like, that's the reality. And that's why I really am stoked that I have a cryo shop that I swear by this stuff. I felt really good after I did it this morning. But that's one of the things that really pisses me off is when I hurt myself, not in jiu-jitsu, because I was feeling great. I talked about my knee. I did a ton of recovery stuff. I told you I was doing exercises, cryo every day, hot tub. By the end of the week, last week, I was training, feeling great. My knee's not even an issue anymore. And then I hurt this on Saturday.
Yeah.
So today I did go to class, but I only took one roll. So I had to, after that one, I was like, nope, I shouldn't even have done that one. So anyway, that was my weekend, is injuring myself and doing a shitload of home improvement work around the house. So
Nice,
here we
man.
are. Yeah,
Good thing you strength trained for that iron door.
for sure.
That
Oh my
was,
God. Luckily my dad's still, he works out and stuff. He's 70, but he's a beast, He used to do bodybuilding and stuff. So, I'm thankful for him. We got it in and we saved a ton of money doing it that way. And, I like that stuff because it's satisfying when you do your own work. It always
Yeah.
is. So here we are. So now I'm looking into this week. I'm hoping my back can get better so I can get some more training in. Those
Nice,
little setbacks, I
Yep.
like to talk about them on here because I think it's the reality for most people that
most
are
people.
trying to do the daily training and keeping in your groove, and something external hits and bam. But other than that, it was Easter Sunday, spent some time with my family and it's a good day. Ready for another week.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I worked outside all day yesterday and dug holes, and I thought I was going to be manual labor. Yep. I thought I was going to be sore today, and I woke up and I was like, I feel pretty good. So
That's good. Digging holes is one of the absolute worst. I mean, especially in Arizona.
yeah.
That's one thing I will definitely pay for forever from now on. I mean, I used to, save some money. I'm going to dig this hole. It's only a 15-gallon tree.
Yeah.
Good luck in the Arizona dirt. Need a jackhammer.
Yep.
So, been training?
Yeah, been training. I took Sunday off. I got my second COVID shot, and I expected to be a little bit more sick than I was or a little bit more under the weather. I don't want to say sick, but I expected to feel kind of crappy on Sunday, and wasn't a huge deal. So I took Sunday off. I trained on Saturday. We trained. My house backs up to a park, and we got some of those fold out mats. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those fold out mats, and there was a group of us out there, and we just went down to the park, set
Oh,
them up,
nice.
connected them all up, and it was awesome training
Was it?
outside. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was like, we started, it was like 60, it was like 60 degrees, and man, it started warming up, and it was amazing. So
That's great.
I see that in my future a lot more. But yeah, I'm super fired up on jiu-jitsu right now, man. I feel like my game, I'm like, I feel like technically I'm doing pretty well, and yeah, I'm super fired up on jiu-jitsu right now. So
Nice.
I have no complaints. I'm gonna train again tomorrow. So back to the grind. I took a rest day that really wasn't a rest day. I ended up doing manual labor, and now it's back to it. So pretty happy with the way things are going. And now traveling's gonna open up. I'm gonna start bouncing into some new gyms, and
Nice.
just doing some drop-ins and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm excited about it. So I have a client actually, and he did a drop in recently, and I think it was a completely different experience than what he was anticipating. And I think that I've dropped into a lot of places, and anyway, this person's story, I think he dropped in, and it was harder training than what he anticipated,
Yeah.
I think. And he's a white belt, has been training for right at a year, maybe a few months shy of a year. But I think it was kind of a shock to him. And I was like, I just kind of let him know. I was like, man, that's normal. You went to a
Yeah.
competition school. Like,
Oh man.
you went to a competition school.
You're a white belt.
You're a white belt. There's probably a little bit of with the white and blue belts. There's probably a little bit of we must protect this house type stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure.
So completely normal.
Yeah.
And so I thought that we were kind of talking about it before we jumped on here, and I thought, hey, well, that'd probably be a pretty good episode to talk about. There's a lot involved there.
Yeah.
So
What advice would you give him next time?
keep dropping into places. Keep training. I
Be
told
more
him,
be more aware that there's going to be some kind of there's vast differences,
yeah,
different experiences at different gyms, different expectations.
yeah.
But
I think
if he hasn't been doing it that long, that's intimidating. I've never even dropped in anywhere. Like I've never done jiu-jitsu when I travel or anything like that. Not that it's intimidating to me, but I could see how it would be intimidating to someone, But those are the people that, I think he's probably going to understand if he keeps doing it, he'll realize that some schools are like that, some not so much.
that's exactly what I told him. I was like, you're going to see if you keep dropping into places, keep traveling, and whenever you're, training in different areas, you're going to see different levels of jiu-jitsu. You're going to see different looks. You're going to see things are no two gyms are the same, right? So,
Right.
you're going to see all kinds of different things. And I told him, I was stoked for the guy. He got some different looks. He wants to compete. He is competing again in May. So I was like, man, that's like a really good, it's a good experience for you to drop in, go to a competition school, see what their training is like, see how they roll. I think he was really surprised at how hard they roll. I think they rolled pretty hard. So I think that was a shock to him.
Do you know, not to get too deep on who this is or where they're at, but do you know what school he's at versus the other school personally? Do you have no idea what their experiences are? Was it in the same state?
I don't. It's in a different country.
Okay.
So I don't know how the states all work. I don't know what I'm
don't know
trying
how
to
far away it was from the other gym or.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the gym he trains at is loosely affiliated with the gym that he went to, but the main black belt instructor
Was Hodger
is
Gracie.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Was that yeah. He was over at
Is he over at
the school that he went to.
some killer school? I mean, that
Yeah.
could happen locally, you know? I mean, it doesn't have to be state to state or country to country. There's different flavors of jiu-jitsu out there, you know? You could
There
go
is.
5 miles down the road to the next gym and they're training twice as hard, and that's basically just because that's the way they do it or that's all they know, versus the other school, that's all they know. You know, it's all in who your instructor is and what type of atmosphere and environment they create, and they're not all created equal, right? I mean,
That's right. Yeah, I mean he told me he was kind of frustrated, but then also he told me he was like he felt like he couldn't do anything. It was just
Yeah.
one of those moments.
you're a white belt.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
are a white belt.
You know, I told him, I was like, you know, it's those things happen.
Yeah.
That's happened to me more than times than I can count.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times where I've wanted to take my gi and throw it in the trash,
Yeah.
and then, you know, take the gi out of the trash, give it a wash. That's what I told him. Take your gi out of the trash, throw it in the washer,
Yeah.
and just get ready for another good week of training. It's
For
not
sure.
a big deal.
Well,
So,
you grow from those experiences
You do.
for sure. You know, I mean, at least you learn from them, or sometimes your ego needs a little check, or even if it's not your ego, you just need a little adjustment, you know?
Yep.
Whether you ask for it or not, you're going to get one on, you
Yep.
know, and that can just be the difference in, we've talked about this many times, changing up your training partners, you know? And that's basically what he's doing. He's used to probably a certain level of skill, a certain level of physicality, and tempo and pace. And then he goes somewhere else and that's changed. So your whole training environment and experience is going to change as a result, obviously, you know?
Yep.
Especially if you're new like that and you know, when you're a white belt, you just don't have as many experiences as someone that's been doing it many, many years.
Yeah.
Whether it's in different gyms or your own gym, you know, you learn how to handle that pressure in a different way, you know,
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, you know, especially a white belt, you know, the depth and I guess breadth of individuals in the white belt category, you get all
Yeah.
types.
Yeah.
You get all types in there. So, you know, it's every belt level has it. You can be a blue belt, you can be a new blue belt going up against a guy that's getting ready to get his purple belt.
Yeah.
You can be a white belt going against a guy that's getting ready to get
Yeah.
his blue belt. And
You can be a brand new black belt going against a guy that's been a black belt for 25 years. So,
yeah.
you know, I mean, yeah, white belt, it's also an extra challenge at white belt, because at least the purple belts or the brown belts, you know, you have the vast differences, but they've all been doing jiu-jitsu a while.
Yeah.
Where white belt, especially if you're only a year in, you really don't have a lot of knowledge, you know,
Yeah.
no matter what you think. I mean, that's just, you don't have enough time to get all the knowledge and skill and repetition and muscle memory. But also with white belt, and I have an example of this at our gym, is like, you know, you can have a white belt that's coming in brand new. This person might not be physical at all. Like they might not have ever done a physical activity in their life. And that definitely happens, you know, whether they're trying to lose weight or maybe they're in perfectly fine weight ratio, but they just don't have they're not athletic. You know, you see all walks of life and this isn't just jiu-jitsu. It's people are all walks of life. So no matter what sport you're talking about, you know, people get into the same thing. You get into CrossFit, there's going to be a different points of entry depending on your physicality, you know. With jiu-jitsu, you see that a lot when you have guys that come in, guys or gals that have wrestling experience 100%, you know. You got one up on someone if you're starting jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
and you have a grappling background, 100%. Like if you can know how to move your body like that, I mean, you've felt it as a higher belt when you roll with like somebody that's a white belt and they surprise you with their, and you're like, oh, this guy must have wrestled before, or at least they're not rolling like a 4 or 5 month white belt, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. It's funny, in our gym, in my little training circle, we have a white belt. I just met him recently. He's been training in our specific class for a while now, but he's really skilled, and I think he's a highly belted. I'm not going to say because I don't know his full story, but he's a high belt in judo. So he's like on the feet, he's really competent, you know. So, and some on the ground too. And I'm not saying some. He's a tough roll. So he gives guys problems, but he's also a 4-stripe white belt. So, I mean, I kind of looked at his belt recently to see, like, counting, like, where is this guy at in his journey? And so not only do you have like a guy that's done some martial arts before, he's also like a 4-stripe white belt. So that's going to be a complete different animal as like a guy that's training 6 months that is coming off the couch and never had any athletic,
Yeah.
There's going to be a different learning curve 100%, but it's also going to be different if this guy that I'm speaking of went to that same gym, he might have had a little bit of he was maybe more comfortable in that high paced environment. That's how this guy trains. So it's totally different in who you are. But anyway, this dude in our circles, he gives people hell. I mean, he's good. He's getting good at jiu-jitsu. And he's also, what's very important, is a 4-stripe white belt. So you can bet every time I see him rolling with blue belts, the game is on. It's like I mean, you're trying to prove yourself, right? Not to say that that's what he's doing, but that's what you do especially when you're on the cusp of getting your blue belt. Yeah. We talked about that before. That's like a big one.
Yeah, blue belt's a big one.
That's a big one. Because you're officially kind of in the club of colored belts. You're no longer, because in jiu-jitsu, if you're not versed in jiu-jitsu, for the listener, there's white, blue, purple, brown, and black belt. For the most part, obviously there's more belts after that when you get super legit legend style. But within those belts, a lot of times it's like the white belts and then colored belts. It's like you're kind of broke off in that regard. Because I think that is true though, because once you get your blue belt, you are a colored belt, but you're also it's that major it's that major milestone in your journey of getting your first promotion, real promotion. Yeah. I'm not talking stripes, So 4-stripe white belts, man, they're looking to prove themselves, So it's a great point you make. There's just such a vast difference in white belts, right? I mean, and they're going to have different challenges. Somebody that's newer coming in, and I see it a lot now because I try to I'm very aware when people come into our class, especially new people. We have on the other side of the spectrum, I have a new white belt that's been training with us for a few weeks, maybe a couple months, maybe a month and a half. And because I remember when he told me it was his first day, so maybe not even 2 months, it was maybe a month. I rolled with this, kind of ended up rolling with this guy, and I asked him, I'm like, how many times have you rolled? And he's like, this is my first time. This is my first day. So I was like, completely different experience than if I would have rolled with the judo guy on his first day,
Yeah.
Or a wrestler, you put a wrestler out there for your first roll, they're going to know what to do. They might not know how to, they're going to know what to do. They'll take you down if they're a wrestler, I mean, once you get on the ground, good luck. They're going to have that skill right away, and this, if you're new in jiu-jitsu and you've never done wrestling, it's so confusing on how to start, a roll, how to start a roll. How do you spar? With this person that I'm talking about, the new guy, I said, well, look, he had already sparred with a couple people. Just obviously, people are probably just toying with him. It's his first day. I mean, what are you going to do? So I said, rather than me just sit here and work you over, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to drill through some very basic stuff. I always do that with new people, but especially on your first day. So I just kind of committed the rest of my day just to saying, we're going to take these next couple of rolls. I'm going to show you how to pull a simple guard pull, do a guard pull. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on close guard on both sides.
Yeah.
If you can get to a close guard, you can maybe settle things down. I always like to show people the close guard at first, especially like if you're new and you get stuck in the close guard. You don't know how to get out. Your 5-minute or whatever rolls you're doing is going to be completely wasted. I'm not a big fan of just, I don't know, especially for new people. Like, got to give them a chance to learn some of this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Their learning curve it'll be a shorter learning curve if you help these people along, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, if
I
no
agree.
one in the class, if every single person put it on these people and only the instructor helped them, their learning curve would be much, much greater, because they would be, we've experienced some of this ourselves, you know, not everybody's willing to do that. In our class in particular, I watched some of the guys and, you know, they're real good. They're, you know, not to say they're stopping the rolls and stopping the flow, but sometimes there's times when you have to just tell a new person, don't do that, you know, or don't do this. That just doesn't make sense to not tell them. Like, just tell them really quick, you know, if you're doing this or whatever you're in close guard and you put your leg up so they can underhook your leg or something stupid like that. It's like, nope, don't, because those training opportunities don't come too much with your professor. And if you're waiting for your lessons to learn that as a new white belt, so if you've been in that environment where people are helping you out, I really appreciate that. Like, I like that for new people, brand new. I'm saying brand new. Because a brand new person, if the blue belt's not helping them, the purple belt, if no one's helping that person, they're much more likely to say, see ya, I can't come back here. If you're the blue belt, you're the purple belt, you're not the coach, but you're welcoming, you're saying, okay, you need to approach your role sometimes. Now, especially like if you're in competition mode, maybe focus your roles on something with other training partners. But I firmly believe that both partners in a role should have some fun and some benefit out of it.
Yeah.
You know? And what that means, that doesn't mean that if two purple belts are going at it, they need to be equal. If one kills the other one, that's fine. That's a purple belt.
Yep.
But as a brand new person, especially as a white belt that's new, very new, you got to like let them feel and flow. This is my philosophy through some things. I'm going to give up my 5 minutes of rolling here to teach this person or let them work some moves on me. Otherwise, it's going to take forever, you know?
Yeah.
Take forever, you know? Show someone how to get out of the closed guard, or don't turn your back to me in this position. So little things like that, they go a long way. And you'd be surprised. Like, there's teaching moments all the time. You use that term. You don't have to stop the roll, but there's really quick little things you can say, and I do that. So I know there's different schools of thought on whether you should be talking during a roll, but I feel like I'm in the position, if it's a new person, I'm going to teach them some during the roll. So that's just my style.
The very first gym that I joined, I've never seen it again. They actually, the black rank tab on the end of your belt.
Yeah.
They made you earn that too. So you didn't get the rank tab when you sign up and you join up. You get your belt, you get a gi. Your belt didn't have a rank tab on it.
Right. Okay.
And so what you would get is you would get just a plain white belt.
Yep.
And you would have to go through this very, very fundamental curriculum, it's like kindergarten. It's like pre-fundamentals. And so you had to demonstrate that you know side control. You had to know like the 4 or 5 basic positions, side control, half guard, bottom side control, mount. You had to know all that stuff. You had to have one escape from every single one of those positions to get your rank tab. And that's when I know. Yeah. He would make people go through, you'd have to demonstrate, obviously it's not going to look great, but he'd call out a position. He'd have you go into the position, demonstrate that like how to be into the position. One person on bottom would have to escape. Yeah. Just light, like there was no resistance or anything. You just had to demonstrate it. Then you get your rank tab. You go into the fundamentals curriculum. Um, and I don't remember. I want to say you had to have 2 stripes before you could roll, but I don't know if that's true. That's not true. Now that I'm thinking about it, you had to have 2 stripes on your white belt to compete. And if you had your black tab, you could roll. But he was very involved in the white belts rolling, and
Yeah.
he would tell people like, that's death match status, and he would tell people, calm down. You guys are, need to, both you guys need to calm it down a little bit. Work technical, not
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. And I thought that was pretty. It's an interesting way to go about it, making
Yeah.
someone demonstrate.
It's not bad,
No,
I'd rather have more strict rules than not. I mean,
Yeah,
have some more not rules, but guide structure. You want your people to be solid. So it's such a kind of a subjective thing. You have these eyes on you, but there's no like written test or no study guide, So the more training you can do in those, and they're not the only, I think what is it? Which Gracie school they do like the striped white belt, or there's like a belt in between white belt and blue belt now. And those schools, like it might be Huron and Henner. I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, what shouldn't be is like you're brand new, you get your blue belt in a year and you've never done any grappling, and you go to another school and you just get worked by other white belts.
Yeah.
So I know it. In my school, I just know when someone's about to be a blue belt because you can see it in the confidence and the skill. And not to say they're the most skilled person, but they're giving all the other blue belts. They're rolling competently with other blue belts, and you can only judge it against what's in your school for the most part. I mean, the tournaments are what's going to ultimately judge it, school to school, or and there's plenty of. Look, I mean, there's the top schools win a lot of the bigger schools, the bigger name, the bigger competitive schools. They're winning team titles and stuff because their teams are better at more highly skilled and physical in competition.
Yeah.
And their blue belts might be better than your blue belts. That's just the reality, right? And there's levels to this. So it is what it is. It's like hard to within your own school, you only know what you know, especially, and we've talked about this before. I think this is going to be more of an issue moving forward. And I've seen it in social media world. I've heard it from a bunch of friends. And what I'm talking about is like people getting promoted too early or too soon in some people's minds, especially at the black belt level. I don't know. I've personally seen like people get promoted pretty quick in terms of like at our school, it wouldn't have happened that way,
Yeah.
And I just know how much there is to learn about jiu-jitsu, but it is subjective, it's in who's in your circles. And we've talked about that before because it can get diluted, and people, old school people know this for sure. This has been talked about for many years and over generations. And what that means is if you're promoting someone too early, let's say they don't have the skill, they don't have the experience, maybe they're a young black belt, let's say. They might be deserving of that black belt. They might have been doing jiu-jitsu since they were 16 years old, but there's also that long game experience of established, like the minimums, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you get someone that's younger, and I shouldn't say younger, I shouldn't put an age on it, but let's just say that someone's a new black belt. We've talked about this before. And then they start promoting people very quickly to black belt after that. And it could get diluted down because what happens, and it's just natural, because what happens is this guy let's say this guy gets promoted to black belt, he opens a school. His teacher might be in the game for his whole life. He might be a black belt for 30 years, okay? And this younger person gets a black belt. I'm going to open a school. I'm going to go open a school. They give someone a black belt that, I don't know, let's just put a number on it. Maybe 7-year training versus like maybe the standard 10, whatever. Maybe this person's a competitor. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't even put a number on it, but let's say 4-year black belt. Then everyone's going to be like, what? I'm just saying, if you promote that person, they don't even have a lot of time in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
7, even 10 years is not that much time. So they don't have that much. That sounds ridiculous to say, but you understand what I mean. In terms of promoting people, because if that 7-year black belt got their black belt in 7 years, they only have 7 years of experience of jiu-jitsu, and they're promoting people now. Maybe that black belt that they promote goes on and opens their school right away. And then they're promoting a little bit too prematurely. And then the next ones are promoting. And it's not like anything, they're probably not even sitting there saying, oh, we got to get a bunch of black belts. It's just, it's the nature of the sport. And you want to promote people to advance them. But if your standards don't stick to some higher standard, maybe you're in this zone where you're promoting people. You don't even know that maybe against 95% of the other academies, you're promoting them too soon. There's no metric for that, though. You know, there's no metric for that. And some might be on the other end where it takes a guy 4 years to get his blue belt or something, you know, or purple belt. That's the difficulty of it. But I think that's going to be more of an issue. And I'm already seeing that as an issue. And I think I've even heard like friends of mine talk about ways to keep the value of the black belt as old school, like as legitimate as possible, so it doesn't turn into one of these karate type martial arts. We talked about this a little bit before, but jiu-jitsu is blowing up. So in 5-10 years, there's going to be a lot of schools that they might have a great promotion. They might be great business people, but they might not be the best teachers with the most experience. And that's just natural, no matter what we're talking here. That's just going to happen. That's what I'm saying. It could be, the market could be flooded with not as great jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. And, karate used to be a very potent martial art.
Yeah.
There's still some pretty potent karate
absolutely.
out there. It's
absolutely.
just not, it's
you got to know the right school.
You got to know the right,
exactly.
The right schools. You got to know the right, I don't want to call it a brand, but you got to know the right style. Yeah. There's still some potent stand-up
100%
karate out there, but it's 100%. Just that what ended up happening is just exactly what you're talking about. It got watered down, and now you have, you can't say I do jiu-jitsu without, Aunt Karen saying, well, my son, he's a black belt.
Yeah, exactly.
My 13-year-old kid, he's got a black belt. So why have you been training for 13 years and you don't have a black belt? Because my 13-year-old here has, so.
You want to have like that. You'd hope that everyone that does this sport long enough has the honor of, hey, I want to have a legitimate black belt. But there's definitely people out there that are like belt chasers that'll cut corners and do what they can just to say they're this or that, So it's tough,
I was in the military with a guy, and he got orders to Japan, and we had been messaging. He was in. We had been messaging. I had just started jiu-jitsu, and he had got orders to Japan, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go train jiu-jitsu. I'm just gonna belt up out there," and I was like. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, dude. We'll see if you belt up. That was his exact.
That's funny.
That was his exact terminology. Was belt up. I'm gonna belt up. Out
there you go. There's
and I was
example.
like, yeah, we'll see about that, dude.
That's just gross. You know why? Because it's like that belt don't mean shit. Like if you go against, you start training at another school, then you're gonna be, you're gonna be at a disadvantage. If you're belted up, but you're not really that belt. Yeah. It's like, don't you want to be the most skilled? I had the same thing. I used to have a training partner. He trained overseas, and he was promoted to a high belt, not black belt, brown belt. Okay, I'll just say it. Good luck on guessing who this is, but promoted to a brown belt. He told me before that he got belted prematurely. So he knew. He just said the skill is not, it's not the same standards where he was. He's like, I got belts really quickly. And he felt when he came back that he had to reset and almost re-earn the right to have that belt. This is a guy that felt it, you know? So it was really kind of a weird situation hearing it from the other side where someone's actually going, man, I don't know if I deserve, like, you know, because he had the experience of training where the jiu-jitsu was weaker and the standards weren't as high. So when he got back over, especially at our school, he was like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting. I always keep that in my mind now because jiu-jitsu is blowing up, but I always kind of try to look at jiu-jitsu as open-minded as possible, knowing that not all jiu-jitsu practitioners are created equal or belted equal or ranked equally. You try to find some standard, but what is going to validate that is competition. That's all you have, you know. I mean, you can talk shit and school to school all day long. That school over there, their jiu-jitsu is not as good, but it comes down to the competition mats. That's where people can test themselves and test where you're at. If you're not, you know, if you go out there as a purple belt and you get wiped up and it looks like you have some work to do, well, maybe you do have some work to do, or maybe it was just that other person's day and it wasn't your day. But over time, you know, that's gonna pull that out. I mean, obviously, you know, if you're doing competitions throughout the year, you're gonna know how you're leveling up against these people. For the most part, I think people get it right because most people, there are some unscrupulous people that will, hey, I got to give this guy a promotion. I don't want to lose his $150 a month. You know,
Yeah, that's out there.
I mean, that happens. I've heard of these stories. So hopefully most people are on the level. And that's why I think it's also important if you're practicing jiu-jitsu, you just have to take it upon yourself to understand, do everything you can, at least within your control, to be the best, strongest white belt, strongest in terms of what I'm saying, technique, jiu-jitsu, you know, knowledge, all around. Just be the best you can be in that belt at your school. That's all you can do. You know, I mean, that's all you know. And the more you get into it, if you're doing competitions, you'll start realizing, just like this person did, that in this case, it was because of a visit, but not everyone's created equal, or all schools are created equal. You don't know that until you get out there and go for it, though. But you can do your homework, you know. I mean, with jiu-jitsu and activities like this, you don't want to just go for the cheapest place, you know. That's one thing when you're looking for instruction, specialized instruction like this. Beware of the person that's offering it for half price, you know.
Yep.
Not to say that that's always a bad thing, because people can run promotions and stuff, but do your homework. There's plenty of information out there now. Plenty. You know, do some research and just you got to find a legitimate school. I have a close, my former brother-in-law actually reached out to me, and he sees my stuff online, and he's always getting motivated and been wanting to try jiu-jitsu, and he's just a hardworking dude. He's a little bit overweight, but it was interesting. I had a great conversation with him, because this isn't the first one. It's maybe the second or third I've talked to him about jiu-jitsu, but he keeps, like, every year I'll hear from him. And I think he's trying to, like, you know, he's kind of intimidated, doesn't know how to get into it, but it's interesting because I see that side. But that's the same advice. First advice I gave him was, you know, white belt is going to be hard. You know, it's going to take, because you're basically transitioning into something that you've never done before. Yep. You have to change your lifestyle. And, you know, he's like, well, I want to lift some weight before I start. And I go, stop. First of all, you don't have to lose weight before you start. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just one of these things that people say. You might not feel good about it, but you will lose weight if you start now.
That's like a little, what that is that's a manifestation of feeling uncomfortable going
Totally.
into that
Completely.
a new situation.
Completely.
That's
And
like
you
it's
hear
like a
that
mind
lot.
hack. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
little mind hack. It's
Yeah.
you're putting up a false barrier in front of
Totally.
yourself to
Yep.
not take not take that step.
That's
And
exactly what I told them. That's exactly what I told them. I said, you got to get that out of your mind. I go, that's just you saying it's giving you another hurdle to get to jujitsu. You know, I said, that's fine, work out, but I'm going to check back on you this time. I'm going to reach back out to you. And, you know, and he had a lot of the same apprehension. You know, he's talking to me. He's like, you know what it was he listens to like all these podcasts of Rogan, all these guys, whatever it is, name it. Like people are doing jujitsu all over the place. All these high performers, like these, I could name a bunch of names right now.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. All these guys that are doing all like the recovery shit. And, you know, if you're any kind of, even CrossFit guys are now transitioning over, like weightlifters, everyone wants to try it. You know, you see everyone do it. And he sees that and he's hearing it on podcasts. He named like 3 podcasts. He's like, I listen to all these podcasts. Every one of these guys do it. He named one, I can't remember the name, but it's some guy that was not even totally related to jiu-jitsu. But now he's like, this guy, all he talks about is jiu-jitsu now because he started doing it. So he's hearing these guys do it. And same with me. You know, I heard it first on Rogan many, many years ago. And you hear how amped up people are talking about it, right? So that was the first thing, but we got down into discussion. I kind of went through a long thing of how you're going to have to start, start small, a couple times a week, but don't take time off. You know, I said, if you have to commit, you have to give yourself up in terms of your ego. You go in there like a brand new student, like you don't know anything, and just be a sponge, but go consistently, you know? And this is somebody who's not really working out consistently anyway. So I'm like, let's not go for 3 or 4 classes, 2 classes a week. And these are he's not starting yet, but I'm just putting that out there. I'm like, this is what you can expect. And the big thing, what he was like uncomfortable with, he's like, you know, it's just not only that, you know, it's that physical contact that new people are like, because that's really something that we overlook as you do it. But it's really weird and uncomfortable when you don't, like people's shit in your face, just everything is right there, you know? I mean, their face is right on your face, you know, their scruff is rubbing your body, you know, it's like their sweat is dripping on you. We don't even think about that now.
Nope.
We don't think about that. You're grabbing their feet all the time, you know, just stuff like that. It's like, but to someone new that hasn't done it, it's like, whoa. That's really intimate. It is, you know, it's a close contact sport, the closest. His big thing was, how do you even start off a roll? And I was like, that's a great question. And one of the most difficult things when you're new, because you're like, literally don't know what to do. Like, okay, let's go. It's time to spar. Get your training partner. It's like, okay, I'm the training dummy today, you know? So, you know, I told this, my buddy, he's actually my ex-wife's brother. I love him. And I said, when you're ready, you know, let's get you, I'll have to find him a school that works for him here in the Valley, because I have schools that I would recommend to people and some maybe not. And mostly though, when you're starting, you have to make it convenient for you to be able to get to the school. So you're going to be looking for location, but also high quality instruction, you know, and stability, I think. Pricing, you know, don't shop around for price if you're looking for jiu-jitsu. You know, you have to commit to paying a premium if you want premium service. So anyway, I'm hoping that he gets into it and really starts, because, you know, he's got kids, and he's like, he's realizing now, and he's in his 30s. He's like, I need to be healthier and a better a better role model for my kids. And, you know, and he's realizing that. And, you know, he sees me as well. I didn't start jiu-jitsu till I was 37 years old. So I said, there's plenty of time. let's do
Yeah.
it. You know, he's 30, 31 years old. So it's cool though, being able to be in this position and help people on board to jiu-jitsu, you know, whether it's a stranger. I've introduced people from my business to jiu-jitsu that train still to this day. So it's
Well,
not an easy start though.
no, it's not an easy start. And today is the 5th of April. And I believe this is our first podcast since Q1 ended.
Yeah.
Everybody should know this is like the reflection, the first reflection point that people should be like, 25% of the year's over. How are those goals going?
Yeah.
Are you gonna look back this time next year or at Christmas and say, and be in the exact same spot that you are right now? And you know, that's the thing when I hear a lot of people that are putting barriers in front of themselves. It's just like, I need to lose weight before I do jiu-jitsu. I need to do X before I do Y. I need to do Y before I do Z. It's like, that's a false dichotomy. And if you don't eliminate those false dichotomies and call them out in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, that person will be in the exact same place that they are having that exact same conversation.
Yeah.
So
I've been there.
I have to.
And different aspects of my life, you know? I mean, jiu-jitsu as well, by the way, because I learned about jiu-jitsu maybe a year and a half. I started really hearing about it a year and a half before I started. And it was one of those things that I was like, I just, you know, I was unsure of it. You know, I didn't know anyone that did it. So that was a big thing too. You know, I was just apprehensive to getting into something. I was like, the unknown, you know, I was like, what is this, you know? And it did take a lot of courage and just to get the courage to go and open yourself up to a new experience, you know? It could have been anything, but jiu-jitsu especially is more intimidating because now you're grappling with someone in close contact, you know? You're going into the gym environment and, you know, it's not the same as walking into somewhere else, you know. There's different smells and different sights and people are training and sweating all over each other. And it's like, it can be a very intimidating experience, you know.
Yeah.
But I finally did take that leap and, you know, here we are. But that was one thing I also said to him and to anybody out there. And that's why I think we all have to be good stewards for jiu-jitsu is I told them, you're going to benefit from knowing me, you know. And what I mean by that is like, at least he's not going in completely blind, you know. I can literally not only show him or let him know what good schools to choose from, but I can also give him privates and help him at least, you know, imagine if you went in and you've already had a couple privates, never training at a school, but you knew like the guards, just things like that. You knew what the guards are. You have some simple concept of jiu-jitsu versus none when I did. I mean, I watched UFC and stuff, but it was, you know, I hear people talk about half guard and stuff like that, but once you get into it, you learn about it's so nuanced, obviously. And that's the beauty of it, is it's so deep.
Yeah. Is he looking to get into it pretty quick?
We'll see. Like it was a good conversation, but I'm going to try to encourage him a little more on my end, just because I think it'll be good for him. Even if he doesn't stick with it, it'll be a good experience to try it out. And that's what I told him. I said, you've been saying this for a year or so, you know, at least try it, because then you can say, I tried it. You don't want to go 10 years down the road and say, I feel bad because I never gave this a chance. You know, I've lived my whole life and regretted that I didn't play more sports in high school. Like I literally think about it all the time. And those are decisions like you got to take those up, you know. We only live once. You gotta take the chance, because you can fall in love with something or not. Maybe you discover that jiu-jitsu is not for you, but I still go back and I think I lost out on a lot just from high school, you know, because I know I could have played more sports, but I chose, I'm going to work every day after school. Having the nice truck was more important to me. Having the nice vehicles and having some money in my pocket in high school was more important to me at the time.
Yeah.
Looking back, I feel like I missed a lot of just great experience, in other ways, instead of maybe wasting my time hanging out and doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
So that applies across your entire life, by the way. That's why it took me a couple of years to finally get into the gym and fall in love with jiu-jitsu. That's not everybody's story, but at
Yeah.
least you're not going to regret not doing it. Because what could happen, and I told him this, it could be 7 years down the road, and then you try it and you fall in love with it, and you'll be like, oh, why didn't I do this 7 years ago?
Yep.
It's like you're thinking about it. At least give it a shot. It doesn't hurt. It might be uncomfortable, but at least you can get out of your comfort zone for a little bit and give it a chance. And hey, you'll get healthier for it, and you're learning something. So it's a nice sell, jiu-jitsu, because you're getting physical activity, but you're also learning
A skill. Yeah.
a very, very important and applicable skill, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a confidence booster, and your children are going to see you training, and they're going to be motivated by that. And it's a lifestyle, and if you're going to do it, you're typically going to be in better health than people that aren't doing it all the time,
Yep.
So it's not the only great thing you can do in your activity, but that's what we do, and it's fun, and that's what we love. So anytime I get a chance to promote it, I will,
Yeah. It's awesome. Speaking of promotion, you've got a new gi
Oh yeah.
that's getting ready to launch, correct?
Yep. This month, hopefully later
Nice.
this month. It's the transition. That's what it's called. So, it's basically the premise of the transition gi is it's our journey from white to black belt. So you'll see it in the logo and the promotions. That's what it's about. Yeah, we have a black and white one offered. It'll be when they drop online. It's first come, first serve. So if you happen to be an insider, which is someone that knows me behind the scenes, you might have had the opportunity to pick one up at a discounted price, but otherwise it's going to be online later in the month and very small quantities. That's how we do all of our gis, they're small batch. We're going to move on to the next one. It's really sweet though. I mean, the people that have seen it are really liking this one. It's my favorite one I've made so far. So there's a
Really?
yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's clean, dude. It's really clean. There's a black one and a white one. Same style and design, but black or white. So check it out. I'll drop a little bit more here coming up, but if you guys want to wait for that, I also have some, this is the Road to Black Inside exclusive, some new 2021 ranked rash guards coming out very soon. So a lot of people have been hitting me up for no-gi stuff. I'm trying to get them out there. It's a lot of work, but those are going to be people really are liking my rash guards. So these are long sleeve ranked rash guards. Perfect time to, competitions are coming back. People can scoop them up. They're IBJJF approved. Yeah, got a lot of new stuff coming.
That's awesome,
Just
man.
keeping it rolling. We're a small independent company, but I have a lot of local supporters here, and I can honestly say that my gis are as good or better quality than anything on the market, 100%. So, and people can attest to that. I have a bunch of people that were rolling in Show Your Rolls before. Now they're rolling in my gi, so but if you like a brand and a gi, you're attached to some other gi brand, and I understand that. I mean, that's what brands are about. I have to win those people over somehow. And if not, that's fine too. But I'm just thankful that some people are wearing it, and I love them. So I mean, that's what I do. I design stuff that I want to wear and I like, and they end up, other people like them too. And they fit really well, as you know. That's a big part of it. They're just not thrown together. I'm not I could have went and just got some standard sizing and thrown some shitty stuff together and sold them for cheaper and made way more money. But I'm putting quality stuff out there that looks good, and that's what it is. It's a design. We're a designer geek company, so you get what you pay for. we put a lot of thought and love into our gis, and it shows. And this one's going to sell out. So I will say for sure, I've already had a lot of direct messages. Hey, did you, when's this coming out? And did I miss the pre-order? We didn't really do a pre-order on this one. The way this is going to work is when they drop online, they're first come, first serve. So I'll give everyone a date, and on that date and time, you better get online and grab one, because there's not a lot, I didn't make very many of all the sizes. So that's just how it is. And in the future, we will have basically a special insider email list. So I'll be promoting that if someone wants to sign up. What that list, we have a newsletter already, but there'll be a kind of an insider list. If you want to join that group, you'll get like advanced. If you want to, basically you can guarantee your size before they drop, because a size your order. We just don't stock enough to where we're going to have year-round inventory. That's just not our business model. So we got to make them a little bit rare for people to really want one. So it is what it is. You'll be able to have a chance to sign up for those special. I have a lot of people that have bought multiple gis. I think there might be a couple people out there that have every one of Royal Union gis. But you'll get a chance in the future to get like basically a chance to pre-reserve yours. That'll be a good thing we're going to do on the next one. So that at least you can guarantee, if you want to make a commitment when they do come out, we will hold one for you. Otherwise, I'm hoping they fly off the shelf. I mean,
yep.
First come, first serve. That's the way it goes. So we'll see. Follow Royal Union at Royal Union. It'll be on our Instagram. You'll see that drop later this month.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. We're stoked for it. So move on to the next one after that.
That's how it always goes.
Yep.
Well, all right, man.
All right, man. It was good.
Yeah.
Good chatting with you today about basically levels.
Yeah.
Levels to the game, whether you're a wipeout, wherever you are, understanding where you're at, and understand that not everybody's created equal. Not all gyms are created equal, and that's fine.
Yep.
We only know what we know within our own circles. So everyone out there, have a safe week of training, and we appreciate you listening. Go follow us on social media. Give us a review if you've been listening. Subscribe to our YouTube. Wes, in particular, does a ton of work on all of our social media clips and YouTube. He's a wizard at this stuff. I'm really enjoying these things. Last week was great to have Nick on. We want to thank him again.
Yeah, we want to thank
Nick. He dropped a ton of knowledge on us, and you guys can look forward to having some more guests throughout the year. We're working on our next one right now, but that's about it, buddy.
That's it, man.
All right.
Thanks for
Have
listeners.
a good week, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.